start in here if you guys want to stand in here. This is Heather, this is Miranda, I'm Melissa, and this is Jen.
Hello.
And we want to thank you guys for coming tonight.
Thank you guys.
Who lives here?
Huh?
Does anyone live here?
No, this here is a museum now. Yeah, and we will totally get into all of that. Live photography is welcome. Recording is welcome as well. Please feel free to take any pictures. Like Melissa said, just please feel free to leave your drinks and your food out there in the foyer.
Yep. And we do lock the door. Anytime you come in or out, we do lock the door. When you do go out, we do ask that you do lock it. It is not to keep you in. It is to keep other people from coming in.
Yeah.
Because people see the lights on, they come in and think, oh, they're open, and just barge right on in. And we don't want to ruin your guys'
If you see one of us too, it's better to let us know. So thank you guys.
And there is a beeper on the door back there, so if any of us do need to go get something or anything like that, if you do hear that throughout the night, it's a beep beep. That's what that is.
The alarm.
We are just volunteers here, so everything that you put into the house literally goes back into the house, so we thank you very much. We started out just like you, investigators that have come here and just fell in love with the place and decided we want to spend our free time here. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you guys. All right, so now to get into the history. So we're going to do about a 40-minute tour, just talking about the history, giving you the walkthrough in the house, and then we'll give you guys equipment where you can go on a hunt for yourself. Yeah, this is a very active house. Is anybody from here? Anyone from Brooksville? Is this first-timers for everybody? First-timers?
Yep,
all right, well, welcome. Yeah, you guys are in for a little treat. So, the home originated in, how it all started was 1842. There was a homesteading act that was given by the government. If you were able to homestead 5 acres, make a plantation of it for 5 consecutive years, fight against the Native American invaders at the time is what they referred them as to, then you would get rewarded 5 acres. What was that for? How many years?
It was for 160 acres for the 5 years.
For the 5 years.
And it was called the AOA, the American Occupation Act.
And that was, went to Congress in 1845, I think.
Correct.
Yep, and so John May was the first purchaser of the house. He was into construction. He built about 4 other homes here. This is one of the homes included in 1855. After that, he died about, a year later. He didn't live very long. John May?
Yes.
Yeah, John May passed away within 2 years. So, but he was married to Miranda. Miranda then watched over for 9 whole years until this gentleman over here, Frank Saxon, which is a war hero who got wounded in Louisville, Kentucky. I think it was in the leg. He was held prisoner in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And when the Civil War ended, they just opened up everybody and said, "Go home, prisoners. We don't know what to do with you." So he limped all the way back here to Brooksville because he's originally from Brooksville. So he came here. He's known as a war hero. Then he met Marina, acquired this beautiful, gorgeous house. They ended up getting married in this very room on Christmas Eve or Christmas? Yeah, Christmas Day. Oh, okay, Christmas Day here. And then they had a little son, Franklin Jr. Unfortunately, he died about 9 months later. It was really hard childbirth back there in the 1800s. You know, there wasn't any medicine or anything like that. So you were very lucky if you were able to fully, have a child and have them live for a long time. Shortly after that, they got pregnant with little Jessie May, and she died about 3 years later. Miranda, her mother, died about a month later after giving birth to her. And you can see little Jessie May here. This is an actual photo of her that her family had donated to us. It is a copy. That is her actual body, and it was there right in the middle where you are standing. And they covered her in flowers, so she smelled good for 3 whole days until the mortician could come and retrieve her body. I mean, just think about it. A parent, you just lose your child, and now you have to remember them right there in your I just couldn't, being a mother myself. It's very hard to imagine what kind of stuff they went through. A lot. Yeah, a lot. And so after that, there was just so much death here, and Frank Saxon decided to move on with his life and married Tallulah. Tallulah Hope? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tallulah Hope. And they ended up having 6 boys. They built a house over at the Saxon Manor. It's kind of like, about a block away. It's kind of right across the street. That big white home, that's Tallulah's.
Yes, it is. Saxon Manor is now a wedding venue here.
It is a wedding venue. We are not connected to it, but it's still a gem to look at. So, And then after that, the Sheldon... Stringer family?
Yep,
yeah,
Dr. Sheldon Stringer and his wife.
Took over it for about 3 generations. Then it became a flop house in the 60s. There were rentals in the 70s, and then that's when we got it in the late 70s and took over and made it a museum. So that's basically all I have. for that. Yeah, is there anything you want to add?
I do want to go ahead and say, if you wanted to go ahead and note this beautiful fireplace, this is one of 4 in the home that does connect to a single chimney. And there is also, if you guys want to follow us into this room.
Okay.
This is the other side. This is the other second of the 4 chimneys, or 4 fireplaces that connect to one chimney. That is one of the ways that when this house was built, that you could save on taxes, along with stairways and doorways. These windows are beautiful construction. So these are pocket windows. What they do is they can open up into doors. You can walk in and out freely through the home, because back then you were taxed on how many staircases, how many chimneys, and how many doors you had within the home. So the windows could turn into doors. You weren't taxed on the windows. They would go ahead and open it up, and it was wonderful for parties, access to the front porch as well.
Yeah. And there's a neat story here. So Bonnie is the one who started all the ghost tours 24 years ago. She came here, she was just doing a regular day tour, and she had a whole group with her. And all of a sudden they come here into the dining room, and over here they had some saucers. And a teacup came up about 8 inches high, flipped over, and slammed down. And everybody looked and said, well, I guess let's go on with the tour now. And I think only 6 of them survived, right, Jen? And the rest of them ran out. She said every room after that, something had flown off the walls, or light turned on, or something moved. She's like, that's it. This place, it has a mystery. It has a spirit. We need to learn more about it. And then she opened up the ghost investigation tours. So thanks to Bonnie, this night is possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you're in here too, sometimes you could hear little pitter-patters and footsteps.
I do want to say, just watch your step. There are a couple tips here. First off, on this stairway later on, when you guys investigate, we can turn the lights off throughout the home. The only light that stays on is this. This stairway is not a normal stairway. They are smaller steps, higher height. Please be very careful. Don't use them unless you have to.
Very narrow.
And just remember, we do keep this light on, and then watch your step coming in here as well. Alrighty, so welcome to our kitchen, which back then this would not have been used as a kitchen. Kitchens were not attached to the home because one of the main concerns was fire, which we will add on to that. The biggest reason that we are still figuring out a lot of information and don't have everything clear is that in 1877, the courthouse burnt down. That had all the records of the home. Some were saved. Some were saved. Everything was moved to the police station, and the police station was arsoned. Both of them were arsoned. Someone was trying to hide something, but it was hard to get records. So a lot of the things that we have are from family who still live in the area and things that we were able to find.
So we think the original home ended here. This may have been a back door where workers may or may have not come in, or some of the children. And then the original home, we believe, ended right here and was added on because when you come into this room, you can look up and you can see the same framing above the balances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was originally a porch. It did have to be sealed in to protect a lot of the artifacts.
So a really cool story that we have here, there's a couple actually. So we believe that Morena has been here a few times. There was a group of ladies here, and you could see it in a book of fame, which is up front, and just ask us to take it out, and we'd be happy to show you and go through all the stories. There is a lady, plain as day. It's like a dark green Victorian puffy dress. She's got like the red hair with the bun on the top. It looks like her, and she's staring outside of this window right here. Some people think that she was waiting for something, or maybe she was concerned, but we caught her there twice, and then we blew up the picture, and it looks like there's somebody there. It's definitely
yeah, you can see the hair, you can see the dress. It is colored, and they did see it on a day tour here, a history tour, and I don't believe that history tour got finished after that. Was that the case?
No, those ladies, they left.
Yes.
Those are some school teachers, and they're like, we're done. Nope, thank you very much.
So an experience that I did have in here, this was probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
It was roughly around Halloween.
Yeah, right after.
Right after Halloween.
Okay, go.
And I'm standing in here. Jen is up over here looking at some of the artifacts and doing some stuff over there. We had another friend standing over there, and then I'm walking over here, and I go to turn around. 5 fingers and a palm on my buttocks.
That happened to me in the bathroom.
I turned around and I yelled at them.
Straight
I was
like this.
I yelled at Jen. I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you just do
It's
that?"
not her.
Well, that's
And then our other friend had like 3-inch long nails and was like, it wasn't me, see? It wasn't her. So that was, so I turned around and was yelling at them for that, and it was not them. They were not close enough, nor was it the right hand to be able to do that. So.
And a cool fact in this room, Jen, what's that story with Bonnie, with the little boy that...
So what happened was, is Bonnie, when she was giving a tour in here one time, there was a gentleman, so back in the day, this place, when it did finally become like a flop house, after it was a rental house, there was families that would rent this place out for $100 a month, right? You would think that's cheap. Well, the mailman basically would come to the door and say, you were crazy for staying in this house, you know it's haunted, right? Well, finding out that the woman said to the mailman, the price is right, lady.
I got 6 kids, I'm staying.
So there was a gentleman one day that came on a tour, and she overheard him say, I used to live here. So she said, I will give you a special tour of this house. Tell me what it was like to live here. So around in the 70s. So what he had said was that one night he was out with his family, and they had the dog with them, and that they came home, and all of a sudden none of the lights would turn on in the house. And they heard this horrible screeching and moaning and howling upstairs.
Like
chains rattling. And so the man said, stand back, let me go in first, grab the family dog, grab the baseball bat. They got to the threshold of the door. The dog didn't even want to pass through the door. The animals
know better.
Knew better. The man got halfway up the stairs, and all the lights turned on in the house simultaneously. They left the next day. So he said, what happened? What was the scariest thing that happened to you when you lived here? So the little, as a kid, he was 9 years old. He said one day he was in this very room. He was bouncing a ball. And his mother was just irritated by it and said, you bring that ball upstairs right now. So as a 9-year-old dude, he bounces it all the way up the stairs, down the hallway, and at the time he was in his bedroom was the nursery. And a woman came out and said that he didn't recognize and put her hand out and said, you give me that ball right now. So what is the 9-year-old going to do? He's going to give her the ball. So he gives her the ball, and she turns around and goes back into his bedroom. Well, all of a sudden, he gets up the courage to go in and look her over to see if the woman is still there, and all he sees is a bouncing ball stagnantly going.
By itself.
Yeah. Imagine having to go to bed that night being 9 years old.
And he didn't come back for I think 20-something years later, and she's like, what took you so long? He's like, I had to grow some, I had to be a big boy to come back.
Exactly. So this house is very notoriously haunted, and like we said, this used to be a back porch, and we do have a woman that was caught during a day tour standing in this window. You could tell she is wearing her hair up in a bun, her hair is red, and she's wearing a green dress, and we have a photo of that in our book of fame that we could show you later on. It's just a bunch of pictures that people have taken over the years that have donated to us, and it's really, really great. And later in 2020, she was caught again, but in shadow form, and same outline, but just a shadow.
Yeah, it's like an imprint of energy, It's
What
really
is she looking at? We don't know.
All right, guys, we're going to come over here. Please watch your step. This is our military room. Do we have any service members here? No?
My dad was in World War II.
Oh,
wow.
Well, we do have uniforms here. We call this our war room, so if you know anybody, this might be an active room for you. My father was military too, and sometimes you hear tapping on the glass or a hi through the spirit box, and it sounds just like my dad, so I kind of feel connected to this room a little personally. Sorry if I get a little teary, but we've got stuff all the way from Civil War, World War I, World War II, and over here, we've got this guy right here, Dwayne Rocky Mountain. This was donated to us by his father. He was a service member as well, and we've caught him over the spirit box a few times as well. And then another cool story that I like to tell is right here over the spirit box. Someone started listing this off. 1st Armed Division, 2nd Armed Division, U.S. Armor, all of these were named off on the spirit box. So we know something is here. Something is here. And then over here we've got this Civil War surgeon field kit. That is an actual saw, what people would use in war to hack off your leg or your arm if they needed to, because everything was done there. They didn't have time to bring you to the doctor. There was no nothing. Everything was happening on the field. Cool artifacts here. Jen's got a cool story about those right there. We've got a horse gas mask, all sorts of stuff.
your transportation to give out on you.
No,
So
you definitely did
need all this
not.
Gas mask. So those cannonballs over there, at one point we had a police officer come in and they said, "Did you ever get those checked?" And we were like, "No, aren't they solid?" And they're like, "No, there's gunpowder in them." So we had a whole bomb squad come out and they took all of them with them, and quite a few did not come back. So we were living on the edge for
Yeah.
quite a while there, and it was scary.
Yeah.
But luckily, nothing happened. This room is considered a hot spot. A lot of different things happen in this room. We have had, it sounds like people walking in here. I've caught disembodied voices in here. A deep man's voice mostly that's talking. Sometimes I think it is Dwayne, who is right behind Miranda. His father donated his uniform, and that is also his, another Class A uniform right down there.
Here.
And we have uniforms in here ranging from World War I all the way to the Vietnam War. So you can just imagine what is attached to these artifacts, what kind of energy is attached to these artifacts. That's what spirits run off of, is the energy and electromagnetic fields. So now we're going to go on into the next room.
Careful.
Personally, my favorite room. Got everybody?
Almost. This is the doctor's office. Welcome.
So this is what would have been assumed Dr. Stringer's office. So we have what is the original exit sign on the door from the home. Still there. Not the top one, the one that's on the way.
Right over here.
Yep, and that is original to the home, and that door is one of the only original ones to the house left.
So what we have, one of the favorite pieces that I have, that is a hospital bed that was donated by the Brooksville Hospital. That was the hospital bed. The one and only. So if you were injured and you had to go to the hospital, that's the bed that you were on. Someone else got injured, that's the bed you were on, and they were waiting for you to be off of it.
Getting labor.
Whatever you were doing with it. Okay? This for me is a big hot spot. It's a big hot spot for a lot of people. I have quite a few experiences in this room. One of them that I was having was going to be laying down on the floor, and I was like, hey, Dr. Stringer, can you come work on me? I was actually with Jen. Felt my back getting really hot, and I'm like, okay, it feels kind of hot. And she felt it and was like, yeah, it's kind of actually warm. So she put one of our EMF detectors on there, and I'm just face down, so I can't see it. And I'm like,
you also give him $1.
yes. So I was like, I feel it again, and the EMF detector was going off. So we laid a $1 bill on my back. It was 10, 5, 1, I don't remember. But we laid a $1 bill on my back, and you watch it just fold over.
It was a flat.
I'll take that.
Yeah, and it was flat, and it just decided it wanted to go ahead and fold over.
Oh, fun.
We also have this wheelchair here. It is World War I.
Yep.
World War
World War I.
So that wheelchair decides it kind of likes to move on its own. It's a pretty sturdy chair. You can, kind of hit it. It's not going to go rolling. But there was, during Halloween, we kind of do a legitimate spook house here. So there was a scare actor. There was tunnels set up in here. We put some of the artifacts away, so you're not doing all that.
Because Halloween happened to be on a Friday, so it didn't be my fun.
Well,
I don't remember if Halloween was on a Friday. Yeah.
Well, yes, this year was on a Friday, you are right. But we hold it the week beforehand. We hold a big, and so what we do is we take all the beautiful things that can be broken, we put them away, and then we set this house up and do like an actual spook house where people, actors, the volunteers can come in and scare people. It's one of our biggest events of the year that we do, and it brings a lot of money in to keep this house going. So there was a tunnel that was going through here. It was called the Tunnel of Terror, and it had little trapdoors in it, and a guy was just having fun scaring people as much as he could, and it lit up through that door. Well, all of a sudden, that wheelchair kept rolling into his leg, and then it just rolled into his leg really hard. He said, I didn't know this house was actually haunted, and bolted out that door.
We didn't say it again.
This room has been very, very active lately. We have heard a lot of different footsteps, child giggling, through the spirit box, a lot of responsive answers. things like that.
Intelligent responses that are answering questions that you ask.
Yes.
And, we've had them be giving names as well that do very much correlate with the home.
Yes, and we
Say hi to
also,
certain doses.
in this room, we do have pictures of Dr. Stringer himself and his son, who did also practice medicine, and then what he would charge. And back then, it was pretty cheap. So that's really cool if you want to take a look at that later.
And Dr. Stringer himself died like 3 months later after moving into this house and adding on to it.
Yes,
Yes.
but he did practice in the area for a long time. We just
Yes,
found
he
out.
was.
very
He had been
popular area.
practicing at a minimum since 1880 in the area. He was a very well-known physician in Tampa in the 70s and did travel up here to practice medicine for this town. For sure, starting in the 80s, that we have been found documented very recently, actually. Another key point in this room is the bathroom. If you guys have not been to the bathroom yet, you're lucky because plumbing didn't get added on until the 80s here.
Yeah.
There was no central plumbing. We do ask that if you are a private person and don't like people looking at you while you're going, to lock the door. The door does latch, but there are times where the door handle will open up and no one's on the other side, and it has opened and opened up
On you
people.
too, didn't it? Yeah.
I had it latched,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the handle fully jiggled, yes.
Again, we were here that one night, and she comes out, and she's like, Jen, and I'm like,
Fully
what?
expecting her to be running around the corner.
No,
She was already
I've
in
been
the
wanting
other
this
rooms.
to happen to me for a very long time. I just want them to jiggle that door handle. And it's okay. Maybe it's because I do want it to happen.
Just a
Because
kid
I
in a candy
would
store
love
here.
to.
But we do have a lot of really cool artifacts back here, especially if you're interested in old medicine. We have some really cool stuff. We have old drugs. We have an old optical. We do have dentist chairs.
There's also a barber too, right?
Your barber was your dentist and a small surgeon as well. If you needed a hand or face surgery, your dentist would do that back then. Yeah.
And Dr. Sherner was big on pushing the incubators.
Well, have you ever written? Go say Candyman to that mirror 5 times. You probably.
No, I don't trust that.
I thought you had my
Sorry.
autographed in there. I'm good.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and go upstairs.
Just, if you can, please hang on to the railing. We do have some steep stairs in this house.
That's the last.
Hello, sweet girl. I named her Clarissa. I don't know why. Aww.
You don't like babies.
I don't like babies at all.
The reason why we call them babies, we'll tell you in a minute. But over to our children's room. This is hotspot number 2. We have a very special artifact in here. It's from the 1860s. It's a cradle. This cradle, one time it broke, and the curator at the time decided to, in 2009, to put these babies into a trunk. And all of a sudden, there was a black mist that kept showing up in every single photo. So they got it fixed, and they put them back in there, and they've been fine ever since.
Black
The
mist
reason
stuff.
why we call them babies is because over the spirit box, so many times we've heard, they are not my dolls, they are my babies. So we call them their babies. The one that's closest to me, she predates the Civil War. Her eyes are made out of glass, her face is made out of paper mache, and her body is made out of sawdust. If you were to touch her, she would literally crumble. So we have put this plexiglass on top because not everyone likes to listen sometimes. And that's okay. Middle doll I don't know much about, but I know the end one is from the 1920s, and her name is Annabelle. The person that donated her did not know about the Annabelle doll.
Annabelle.
She just thought it was a pretty old name and decided to name her after that. So, and then we have another baby in here. This one right here, that really seems to creep the girls out.
She likes to move her head.
It tends to move on its own and turn its head on its own.
Sometimes
So-
she shakes uncontrollably, even when you're still.
Yes, and so I don't know who's attached to these babies, and definitely Jessie May.
We got it.
This would have been her bedroom, and this is probably most likely where Morena would have died. Because when she had childbed fever, and she probably would have given birth in here also, because at that point the men would be
It
like,
wouldn't happen in the
take that in
nursery,
there, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, and you have to think about children back then. They only had one toy, so to speak, one thing. So that was their everything. All their energy is going into this one item. So we feel like a lot of attachments could be to these toys. Like we've set up the blocks and they've knocked him over. She set up the piano, they've played the keys. I mean, it's a very, very active room. So if you ever want to sit down too, a good thing is get to the kids through the mother. You can ask Marina, hey, is the kids bedtime? And she'll tell you over the spirit box, yes or no. I've even had Frank Saxon come in and said, yes, good night. I'm like, okay, firm, yes, good night. I'm like, okay, good night, you know? So.
I mean, that makes sense, because, you know, it gets
You
to a
never
point
know.
where they're just like, because I've heard it so many times over the spirit box, where they're like, it's your bedtime. Stop touching the artifact, or stop touching, you know, the equipment. And, you know, you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, oh, and they're gone. We have a few things under the bed. If you want to take them out, we just ask you to put them back. There's some blocks and a little toy piano. You can set the blocks up, sit on the floor in here since we can't sit on the furniture, and just put them up and see if the children knock them over. You're more than welcome to do that. And I would say, you know, try to visit this room maybe a little bit earlier, because I feel like the kids do have a bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
So
Heather's got a really neat story too, because and you're not the only person who's seen that little girl too in the white.
It's validated.
Yeah.
So this past October, it was the last day that we had Ghost Fest. I am a scare actor in the maze, so you'll go through the house and then you'll go down into the maze. The very last night, we were closing out for the night. I was still in the maze, and a little girl, she'd be about 4 or 5, just comes skipping up to me, and she's laughing, but the only thing is her face was blurred out. She had on a period-style dress, and she had some blood
On her chest area,
on the chest
like she
area.
was coughing.
So she just giggled and
Went
took
on her
off,
way.
run on her way. So there was another worker down the end, which she would have had to have passed him to
escape
To
the
escape.
maze, because the maze is a one way in, one way out. Yeah.
So I asked him, like, did you see a little girl? Where are the parents? You know, I mean, who needs to hurt her?
No, that's their 3 or 4 year old toddler.
unattended. He's like, I didn't see anything, and I'm like, oh. So then I found out later on that it's either Jessie May or
Because somebody else has seen her
Same
too. The
exact
little
one.
girl, same thing, you know, blurred out face with a little blood, white dress. It's always the white dress. I feel like a lot of them are in nightgowns when they die.
Yes.
You know. So you might feel like you're kind of coming down, and you are. So the foundation in the house, we know that we're in Florida, we are on sand, and we are definitely leaning. So.
All right, so this is the communications room. Originally, we think this would have been where the placement of a master bedroom would be. I like this room, and I don't like this room. I don't ever get any bad feelings in here. I feel like I'm kind of just, I feel like I'm intruding here. We do have a door here that goes out to the porch. Please do not go out there. Please, please, please. This house is still being rehabbed. It is a constant thing. Please don't go out there. You might fall.
But we do have a cool story. So in the Book of Fame, you can see 20 years apart, there is a gentleman standing here looking out. And we believe that it's Frank Saxon, because when you look at his portrait and you look at the entity that is in that photo, you can see the mustache, the goatee, the hair, the salt and pepper hair. It looks exactly like him, the slim build. And he only had 1 daughter. After that, he had 6 boys. So he had lost his wife and his first wife and his daughter here. So some of us think that maybe that they were buried here. Because back in the day, it was very normal to have your cemetery on your property. You know, someone gets sick, you bury them in the yard.
Yep.
And 20 years apart, they caught him in the same exact spot. So that's a really cool photo.
And with that, preempting into the other room as well, we do have a story out there that they have been seen. But if you do see any cop cars out here, the police are just as interested in this place as you guys are. It is very notorious, especially when they have new people come on. Mm-hmm. Sometimes cops will pull down here. We have had them come in while we were doing a tour and be like, can I just look? Mm-hmm. We have a new guy. Can we just see it? Okay, cool. So if there's cops down here, none of us are wanted that I know of. They're here interested just like you are. So a lot of this really cool equipment was donated by the phone company. If you have lived in Brooksville for a very long time, or if you have any family members, generational, you can flip through these. There are the old names of everybody who did live here and how to, put up on the switchboard. These have been known to be moving and
To flip
on their own. And if you do feel them and move them, they are rather heavy. They're metal.
Yeah, Jen's got a video where it just starts flipping randomly in the middle of the night. Nobody's here, place is shut down. Just watching the camera, and it's like, oh, something's moving.
But I feel like this room is kind of ignored. But I would recommend, checking this one out a little
Then we're
bit.
going to go here across the hallway. This is what we call James' room. It's now set up like a master bedroom. Please be careful, there is a soft spot right there that I'd like to point out in the floor.
So continuing on with the police, this window does look out. Standing back over here behind this dress, they have seen figures out here. They have seen people in the windows. Police have called. This was before any video cameras or things like that were around. It was like motion sensors and stuff that you would have but they would call Bonnie. And they would be like, look, someone's in the museum, you have to come
There's a guy in
and
a
check this
military
out. There's
uniform.
someone
Yeah.
in the home, you have to come look. She's like, well, I already know what this is. Comes in, checks it out. The police,
here.
every once in a while you get a guy who will come in and check it out. But they will see somebody in here, make us come down. There's no one there. There's no one in the home. The home is undisturbed.
It is. A lot of the times, too, we see these like to spin on their own, the wheels, sometimes. I've never seen it for myself, but I've heard of a lot of people that have told me that.
And one other place that I would like to say, please don't open this up. Like we said, everywhere that you are is safe, but don't go in here, please. Everything is still getting done. But this door, we like to keep closed. We don't like it open. You might find that it has peeked itself open. Even with all of this stuff we have in front of it, it does
Sometimes
tend
it's pushed
to
open.
peek open on its own. Okay?
Yep.
So along with this room, we have a spirit that we call James. So James, to me, is a very comforting spirit. We believe that he stayed here after he got back from the war. He came back from the war and he had planned to marry the love of his life. Well, he comes back and she is married to another man. We don't know why. We don't know if there was lack of communication, if something had happened.
Letters could have been lost. I mean, you just never know back then.
You don't know. So he came here and he stayed here for a little bit, and he ended up committing suicide in the home. And we will show you where we believe that was as well later on.
James.
James seems to be a very comforting spirit. Sometimes you will feel someone like touch your head, pat your hair.
Slightly.
I literally turn around and I'm like, thanks, James.
Yeah, thank
like,
you.
I acknowledge it fully.
He's looking out. If you
And
feel
it's just,
scared,
a wave of comfort
Yeah.
will just go over you. And you can kind of talk to him, and he is someone who, if you talk to, he does respond. And you can ask him, and he will say who he is.
or James, protect me if you get a little scared or anything like that. He's a total sweetheart.
Yep.
So.
Another one is Margaret in here as well. So she would have been known, she might be a little judgy. She was very, very conservative. So anything that I'm wearing right now is showing too much skin. That would not be okay. Any shoulder peeking is not okay. She would have worn this over that dress. This is the clothing that she would have worn. Completely covered from toe to chin. So you might get a little bit of that. So don't be embarrassed different times.
And also here at the end of the hallway, you guys, we do have 14 rooms in the house. 12 of the 14 are accessible. We have an office and a storage room down here, but we ask that you please do not enter those 2 rooms. But anything else in the house is accessible.
You're more than welcome to go down there and investigate. Just don't go inside of the rooms. We do have 7.
And then we're going to make our way up here into the attic. Just take your time, go slow. Sometimes a lot of people say, how's everyone feeling so far? Everyone okay?
We just like to ask, how's everyone feeling? Everyone good?
This is fun. This is what I like to watch on YouTube every day. This is music to my ears.
Oh,
Is this music to yours or is this speech to
Yeah.
yours?
That's what they're here for. They're here for an investigation. So this is where we believe that James may have committed suicide because we have this right up here where they used to open up ventilation and get some airflow in. That probably would have been the most, commonplace that he would have, because a lot of people come up here, they feel pain, they feel drained, they feel sadness, and it's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of sadness up here. So that's why we believe this is probably where where he did that.
That's why we always stop right here, just to kind of remember him and, you know...
Take a breath.
Yeah, take a breath for a second. We do have some artifacts that were found on the property right behind you. If you want to take a look at them later. There's an old harmonica in there, an old strainer, piece of bra strap.
Bullets.
All sorts of stuff in there. So if you want to take a look at that. But now we're going to go on into the attic. Please watch your step. These boards can be a little rickety.
And if you guys would like to sit down, you're more than welcome to sit down on the couch, on the floor, or any of these two chairs. We are not allowed to sit on the bed or any of these other chairs that are very, very fragile.
Yep, but anything else in here, test your weight, feels like you can hold it, go ahead and sit on down.
Yep, and the only thing is we just ask that you do not go past this little threshold. That's just storage, but there is no flooring on the sides. You will fall through.
Yikes.
And then over here, we just ask that you stay on the carpet. It's kind of the same situation, but please do not enter this back area. Very, very dangerous.
All right, so welcome to the attic.
Yay!
This is where our most prominent figure is. This is Gary. A lot of people know him as Mr. Nasty. I don't believe that. That is a nickname I don't like to say. Because it entails that he is mean. I've not had that. Mr. Nasty to me means Mr. I sit at the bar and hit on all the women. Because that's kind of how he is. Originally, we got this 1890s traveler's trunk. It was left on the front steps with a phone number. The museum had called the phone number. No one had answered. Couldn't figure out where it came from. Well, lo and behold, we might know why. So that is when we found out who Gary was. He wasn't here before the trunk. And after that, we started noticing some things. Every once in a while, you will hear some curse words over a spirit box. You will pick that up. Some curse words, calling your name, saying stuff. But he is more of the kind of the guy that's sitting, getting drunk at the bar, smoking a cigar, hanging out. He's very much so the jokester around here.
He is the one who also likes to grab bums, so on behalf of the museum, we do apologize.
That does not give permission to the men to go around and grab them either. Blame Gary for it.
So Gary is a very interesting fellow. He was, like they said, not happy at first when they came. When
there was a black
he was
mist
dropped up,
for the first,
dropped off here. But he's calmed down throughout the years, and he loves to talk about whiskey. He loves to talk about cards. He loves to talk about smoking cigarettes, cigars, all that sort of stuff. He loves to joke around. He loves women. He would have been the type of guy back in the day, probably throwing them back, gotten drunk as he could, and been in a brothel and just throwing the first woman that he could on his lap. So Gary is definitely here, and over the times, he is kind of he's kind of a smart aleck, Gary. You kind of are. I mean, after asking a name so many times through the spirit box, we kept getting name. And finally he said, my name is Gary. So we're like, okay, cool. Your name is Gary. We know what to address you as now. So this trunk has been up here. It's an old actor's trunk. It would have been something that basically would have been used like what you would have saw in the Titanic.
You live out of it.
You lived out of it. It's a very expensive trunk for what it in his day was. So Gary is definitely up here. We have another spirit named Molly up here. Molly is a little girl, and we believe that she was in her teenagers. She has a beautiful voice, and if you ever hear her, it's a very happy sunshine voice. And she is up here, and she likes to hang out in that back corner over there, along with another little boy named Mason.
Right where you're standing.
Yes.
And Mason, yes.
Mason is a little boy. He's always calling out for help. He's always calling out for his mama. He's the only one that we would really love to pass over because of the fact that we don't feel like he's very happy, and he just kind of wants to go where his mom and dad are.
He's called me Mom over the spirit box. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's very sad. And then we also, so over the years we've had people say, you know, oh my God, I saw a cat, or I have allergies, you have a cat here. Well, we have a ghost cat, and his name is, we nicknamed him Spooky. Sometimes you'll feel a rubbing in between your legs. Sometimes you will feel, you'll get that allergy feeling in your nose.
I get it.
So I've caught a EVP before. It was not over the spirit box, and it was a straight up meow in that back corner. It was very, very cool. So Spooky is his nickname, whatever it is, nickname. and they're up here, and what better place to be than to chase ghost mice?
Right,
Is being an attic.
he's paying
so
his
he's
rent.
up
Yeah,
here,
so I've heard him I felt him in between my legs quite a bit because I come up here and I like to organize and whatever. But he comes in between my legs all the time. And then my first night working here, he was down in the parlor on the like it was like peripheral vision. Like I was walking into the next room and I was like, wait. Was there a cat there? I was like, do we have a gray cat? And they're like, no, we got a ghost cat. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, okay. So that pretty much sums up the tour. Anything you guys wanted to add?
Anything else you guys want to ask or anything else you want to know?
These like old shingles here or something?
Yep, they are old shingles to the house that would have been there in its time.
Yep. Those are the original wooden
We've
shingles that would have been built with
seen
Is there something over the top of it? Did they put new shingles on it?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
have modern over it because after a while the wood shrinks and expands and cracks. And so to keep some of the history with the home, we went over it as well, but you can still see them in here today.
We've seen on those cameras like kids hanging from these, like, you know, from the banisters, kind of treating
Is
it like
this
a
the
jungle gym.
oldest part of the house, or is this?
This is one of the oldest parts of the house, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. The attic is original.
Yes, yeah.
When did they make the add-on?
The add-on, when the Sheldon Stringer and his family took over, I think that was in...
That would have been early
1920s.
1920s. So Dr. Sheldon Stringer purchased the home in 1902 with his family, and they had it in the family until 67 or 69. So it would have been added on after he passed, and that would have been probably 1910 to 1925, in between that era.
And it was originally 4 bedrooms, and he added on the 10. Yep. So, and we do have equipment downstairs. We have spirit box, EMF readers, all sorts of stuff. If you guys want to follow us down to the first level, we'll get you all set up.
Yep, get you all
Any
set
other
up with some
questions?
stuff, and like I said, just be careful.
Is it okay to use my own REM pod and stuff?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, my whole
Yes.
backpack, you can use
Okay.
all
My
of your own
spirit
stuff.
box, my REM
Oh,
pod,
feel free
my
to set up
EPOC box,
whatever you'd
everything in
like.
there.
Perfect, yeah, you can set up anything that you like.
Hang out wherever. Yep.
Yep, we highly encourage it. And if you have any
Okay.
questions, we'll be kind of roaming around the house. We don't like to make a lot of noise for you guys. If you don't see any of us, we'll either be in the front room or in the gift shop behind the kitchen that we were in. It's kind of where we congregate. It's the least amount of noise to interfere with you guys.
Yes. And we can just stay up here if we want and start.
You can go anywhere that you'd like, and you can turn off the lights as you please as well.
Okay.
Yes. The only one that has to stay on is the stairs, and then the case that we pass by.
Right.
That one has to stay on just for safety, and the hallway light. That's all.